You won't believe what Apple is planning for this May. While everyone was waiting for a quiet update, internal leaks suggest we are getting a massive hardware dump that could change everything. The biggest visual change? We are finally getting the thinnest iPad Pro in history with a screen that looks like it's floating. But the real shocker is the Mac Mini. Rumors are swirling that Apple might skip the M3 and M4 entirely for a redesigned M5 Mac Mini that's no bigger than a stack of coasters. We are talking about 8 products in a 7-minute lightning round that will make your current gear look like ancient history. To make sure we are looking at real facts and not just fairy tales, I've cross-referenced everything. According to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, this May event is one of the biggest hardware refreshes in years, specifically highlighting the move to OLED for iPads. MacRumors and 9to5Mac have confirmed through supply chain checks in Asia that production for a 12.9-inch iPad Air is already in full swing, while The Verge reports that Apple is rushing these out to fix their tanking tablet sales. On the X side of things, top insider Ming Kai Kuo at Mingchiku says the new M4 and M5 chips are focused heavily on AI processing to compete with NVIDIA. Ross Young at Ross Young, the display expert, confirmed the tandem OLED technology which doubles the brightness compared to last year's models. Meanwhile, leaker at V. Enchoko Taco, also known as Shrimp Apple Pro, dropped a bomb saying the new Magic Keyboard will be made of aluminum, making the iPad finally feel like a real MacBook. These aren't just guesses. The part numbers are already showing up in shipping databases. Let's get into the specs because that's what actually matters. First up is the iPad Pro. If you have the current M2 version, you're looking at a massive jump. The new one uses M4 or M5 silicon with a dedicated neural engine just for AI. The screen is the star. It's a tandem OLED, which means 2 layers of OLED stacked. This gives you 2000 nits of peak brightness. The current model hits about 1600 nits. This kills the Samsung Galaxy Tab S Ultra because Apple's screen won't have that annoying blue tint or grainy texture at low brightness. It's also thinner, only 5.1, that is thinner than an iPod Nano. Then we have the iPad Air. For the first time ever, we are getting 2 sizes, a 10.9-inch and a massive 12.9-inch version. This is the product people actually want. Why pay $1,500 for a Pro just to get a big screen? The new 12.9-inch Air will use the M2 chip. Compared to the old Air, you're getting 30% faster GPU performance. It won't have the 120Hz ProMotion, but it will have the landscape camera. Finally, no more looking sideways on Zoom calls. This effectively ends the market for the standard iPad for anyone who does real work but is on a budget. Now let's talk about the Mac Mini. This is the secret leak that has everyone sweating. The current M2 Mac Mini is great, but it's still using a design from the Intel days. The leak suggests a total redesign. It's moving to a much smaller footprint, losing the internal power supply brick for an external one, and potentially jumping straight to an M5 testing chip. Why? Because Apple needs to prove they can beat the new Snapdragon X Elite chips coming to Windows laptops. If the M5 Mac Mini drops, it will have 12 CPU cores and 16 GPU cores in the base model. That destroys the current M2, which only has 8 cores. You're looking at a 40% jump in rendering speed for video editing. We are also seeing a new Apple TV 4K. The current one uses the A15 chip. The new one is rumored to use the A17 Pro, the same chip from the iPhone 15 Pro. Why does a TV box need that much power? Gaming. Apple wants to turn this into a mini console to compete with the Nintendo Switch. It will support hardware-accelerated ray tracing. Imagine playing Resident Evil or Death Stranding on a box that costs less than $200. And don't forget the accessories. The Apple Pencil 3 is getting a squeeze gesture, no more tapping the side and hoping it works. It will have haptic feedback so it feels like a real pen clicking when you change tools. There's also a new Magic Keyboard. The old one was plastic and felt a bit flimsy for the price. The new one is premium aluminum. It makes the iPad look exactly like a MacBook Pro. It has a larger trackpad with haptic clicks. This is Apple's way of saying, yes, this can replace your laptop. If you're thinking about buying an iPad or a Mac Mini today, stop. Just wait. The jump from the M2, M3 era to this new AI-focused M4, M5 era is the biggest gap we've seen since Apple moved away from Intel. You're getting double the storage for the same price in the base models and screens that finally don't bloom in the dark. Apple is about to reclaim the tech throne this May, and these 8 products are the reason why. Which one are you grabbing? The big screen Air or that tiny BS? T of a Mac Mini? Let me know in the comments because I think the Mac Mini might actually be the steal of the year.